Bolsonaro betrayed Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro betrayed Bolsonaro. How, Andrea? They say Bolsonaro even cried. When Bolsonaro was watching TV and saw the whole situation with the audio of Flavio Bolsonaro asking Daniel Vorcaro for money, Bolsonaro cried. Because he wasn't told about the scheme involving the movie. And so Bolsonaro felt betrayed and decided that Michelle should go on social media and make the statement she did. Because if you think about it, the whole situation involving Ciro Nogueira, which led to Michelle's statement, happened back in November and December of last year. It should have already been forgotten in a way, isn't it? But Michelle didn't forget. And now that this has come to light, and according to backstage talk, it's because Bolsonaro felt stabbed in the back by Flavio Bolsonaro. Because the idea is this: Flavio should have told his father. When the father decided to make Flavio his successor and nominate Flavio for the presidency of the Republic, Flavio should have warned his father about the scheme with Vorcaro and that this could come to light, and that part of the money from the movie, well, most of it, right? All the money, more than 60 billion millions, went to the fund. Haba Gate from Eduardo Bolsonaro's lawyer over there in Texas. And according to the information, Bolsonaro felt very betrayed. And because of that, he told Michelle Bolsonaro to go on social media and go after Flavio. Because what's the idea? It's every man for himself. If you think about it, Michelle might be the one launched. Andrea Gonçalves? Because Bolsonaro knows that depending on what the federal police find and what is revealed, Flavio is politically dead and buried. Just stop and think. What has been revealed to us so far? The audio of Flavio demanding, not asking, demanding millions of reais from Daniel Vorcaro. Flavio said he didn't know him. And he said the same thing about the father, that he didn't even know him. And suddenly, everyone finds out that Flavio used to call Daniel Vorcaro his big brother from the heart, from the soul, I'm with you always, and demanding millions of reais from him. And at the same time, what else was released? The spreadsheet of transfers and what still needed to be transferred in a conversation between Daniel Vorcaro, Fabiano Zettel, and Tiago. This was also revealed by The Intercept. That's all that has been revealed so far. And Flavio's already dropping in the polls. And Flavio doesn't respond. Flavio doesn't explain anything, absolutely nothing about this to anyone. So Bolsonaro knows that Flavio is going downhill. If there's a video, just imagine. If there's a video of a meeting with Flavio, and if there's audio with Flavio there groveling to Daniel Vorcaro and asking for money. So that's the conversation, that Bolsonaro was left out of this scheme and that Bolsonaro felt betrayed. Let's think about something. Eduardo Bolsonaro, according to the information, asked Bolsonaro for money. Pay attention. When he went to the United States. According to Bolsonaro, he sent 2 million to Eduardo Bolsonaro in the United States. Now think about it, Bolsonaro watching this betrayal on TV, where more than 60 million went to the United States for Eduardo Bolsonaro's lawyer. Bolsonaro must look at it and say, these sons of mine really are slackers, aren't they? They really learned well from me, because the guy is getting millions of reais from Vorcaro over there in the United States. He still had the nerve to ask me for 2 million, knowing that I'm paying for a lawyer, knowing that I'm paying for the hospital, that I'm dealing with this whole situation and I have huge expenses. And on top of that, taking money from the scheme that I wasn't even included in, from my movie. And still taking money from my account 2 million reais. They say Bolsonaro is very hurt and he's furious. And that's why Michelle was allowed to do what she did. So what happened then? You know that Flavio at first let it go. At first, he didn't say anything. At first, he said it was World Cup day and nothing was going to affect him. He saw things were turning ugly. What Michelle did will take votes away from Flavio Bolsonaro. It will. From evangelicals and women. He was already losing the evangelical vote. He was already losing the women's vote. With Michelle, with this situation, he will lose even more votes from evangelicals and more votes from women. And Michelle, in her speech, which was being subtitled, she wrote it in all caps. She spoke very little. She knows much more. So if Michelle spills the beans, Flavio is screwed. First, Flavio released a statement and then made a video. In Flavio's video, he basically says that Michelle is retarded and that Michelle is lying. Of course, he didn't use those exact words. But what he said implies that she's an idiot and that Michelle is lying. I'll play it for you, his video, so you can see. Then Michelle just made a post just now. Let's watch this video from Flavio. And then we'll go to the post she just made. You're kidding, right? What do I think? I think it's not enough. Now, the loyalist about Flavio Bolsonaro betraying another purebred. This is really weird, guys. Flavio Bolsonaro, to me, he seems to be worse than Bolsonaro himself. Do you know why? Because Bolsonaro, whether you like it or not, Bolsonaro would speak his mind. He didn't really hold back. He just said things. Flavio, no. Flavio is slippery. Flavio, he's plastic. What does that mean, Andrea? He's molded. He speaks according to convenience. A liar, even more so. He lies without feeling. He doesn't even change his expression, you know? When it comes to joking, he's even worse. Interesting, right? But Michelle has her flaws too. Michelle's speech, believe it or not, is actually more dangerous than Flavio's political speech. Because what is Flavio's speech attacking? In a way, our democracy and the federal constitution. The other day, he attacked the Supreme Federal Court, for example. So he's more of the same, but even worse than his father. Flavio. Michelle is a little more serious because she's against the secular state openly. For her, Brazil has to adopt a theocracy. And that's extremely serious. A single religion, that's the beginning of chaos. So it's a complicated situation. But within the Bolsonaro family, it's total implosion. They're at war with each other. This one is worse than the other. Now, time to think. These Bolsonaro supporters are a problem. Flavio Bolsonaro, the pure blood, betraying his own father because of money. With Daniel Vorcaro. Who will be left from the family? Carluxo? There's no way. Renan? There's no way. Eduardo? He's already gone. Soon he'll be a fugitive, and he's living off the stolen money from Daniel Vorcaro, apparently, in the United States. And he even took money from his father. And now the so-called savior, he didn't involve his father in this scheme. And the father finds out on TV and even cries. He betrayed his own father. Who will be left? Mimi Sheka? How tragic. It would be funny if it weren't tragic. Hey, Brazil, let me get his video here. Did it disappear from my screen? Meanwhile, let me tell you something. These people are in a real bind. And soon there will be other alliances. And the far-right agents are going to get Flavio Bolsonaro in trouble. Here it is. Look, I'll show you. This video of him here basically says that Michelle isn't rational and that Michelle is lying according to what he says here. Let's watch together. Pay attention.
Married for 16 years, father of two wonderful daughters. I've never disrespected, mistreated, or humiliated a woman in my life. I would never do that to Opa's wife.
So hold on. So you're saying that Michelle is lying, but that's what he just said, right? He said he never mistreated or humiliated any woman. And yesterday, Michelle said she was mistreated, she was humiliated. Basically, she was kicked out by Flavio Bolsonaro. Michelle went public and said that. Then he comes here trying to make himself look better and says he never humiliated, much less my father's wife. So Michelle must be crazy. So Michelle is lying. Look at what he keeps saying here.
From my own father. I've always been known for my balance, manners, and respect for everyone, even my opponents.
Oh, look at him trying to act all moderate. Look at him trying to act all moderate. And hey, Flavio, you're known, but for your involvement in shady deals and trouble, you're really well known, especially in Brasilia and Rio de Janeiro. So yeah, moderate, oh boy. According to Michelle Bolsonaro, you weren't moderate with her at all. You really laid into her. You offended her, mistreated her, humiliated her. So are you saying that she's lying or that she's crazy or what is it? Oh my God, let's continue here.
The politicians, at no point did I offend or intend to offend Michelle. If I did at any moment, once again, I apologize. I respect her. I acknowledge her work.
Well, she said the complete opposite. So is Michelle lying? Or why did she say you kicked her out, humiliated her, and mistreated her? They ran an international campaign together with Eduardo Bolsonaro over in the United States against her on social media. And that you said she couldn't, that she wasn't allowed to give her input, that she couldn't give her opinion because she didn't understand anything about politics. Is that respect? Then he tried to do that to justify it. I think Michelle didn't like it. Check out what Michelle just posted. Check out her post, a Bible verse. Fight with Flavio Bolsonaro. Michelle doesn't back down and post in a threatening tone. Michelle posted this Bible verse, Psalm 34:13. A false witness will not go unpunished, and whoever utters lies will perish. Right after this video from Flavio, things are getting wild, my dear. And Michelle got the green light from Bolsonaro. Now, do you know what's happening? The sons are going after Bolsonaro to beg, for God's sake, who? Flavio Bolsonaro, Carluxo, and the other one, Renan, to see if they can calm their father's fury. Because the father, according to backstage information, cried when he saw Flavio Bolsonaro's scheme with Daniel Vorcaro. Because the word is that Flavio Bolsonaro told Bolsonaro, who also didn't know Daniel Vorcaro. And suddenly, Bolsonaro finds out on television about the million real scheme with Daniel Vorcaro that he was left out of and that even used the movie. Bolsonaro's Pangaray movie. Things are getting heated, my dear. And who am I rooting for? For the fight. Look here, okay? Flavio is thrown under the bus by his father to keep the crisis from swallowing the whole family. The movie was used for a corruption scheme where Bolsonaro was left out and betrayed by Flavio for money with Daniel Vorcaro. And Eduardo Bolsonaro also took part in the scheme because he, over in the United States, is benefiting from the millions of Daniel Vorcaro. Because whose account did the money go to? To the lawyer Eduardo Bolsonaro. And Bolsonaro was left out. Minister Andre Mendonça decided to return even by request. from Federal Police and Attorney General's office how Daniel Vorcaro's 2 attempts at plea bargaining fell through because the Federal Police and the Attorney General's office understood that he was shielding other people, that he didn't present any new facts compared to what the Federal Police are discovering. Both of Daniel Vorcaro's attempts at a plea bargain fell through. So because of that, he lost his little privilege of staying locked up there at the Federal Police headquarters in a hotel-like room with television and air conditioning, private bathroom. And she went down to Papudinya. He went to Papudinya, okay? And Alexandre de Moraes and Andre Mendonça, in their decision, emphasized that there needs to be extra care and closer attention to guarantee the physical integrity of Daniel Vorcaro. I've already told you here, Daniel Vorcaro is worth more dead today than alive. Because if he's dead, it means that many white-collar criminals won't go to jail. Because make no mistake, Daniel Vorcaro must be a frontman for a much bigger scheme of very powerful people, infiltrated even within the National Congress itself. Just ask Flavio Bolsonaro, right? Just ask Ciro Nogueira himself, the senator, right? Just ask Claudio Castro, former governor of Rio de Janeiro, and Ibanez Rocha, former governor of the federal district. Just ask him too. Just ask Ricardo Nunes, the mayor of São Paulo. So he could become a dead witness. I've talked about this here. You have to be very careful with Daniel Vorcaro's safety. The hitman is already dead. Inside the Federal Police headquarters, the hitman died. With sheets there, he put them around his neck, jumped, and died. Or he was killed. A hitman who was the killer from the most violent core group of Daniel Vorcaro's mafia. And for me, it's hard to believe that the guy killed himself, guys. It's really hard. I know the police did the report, said it was suicide. Okay, but it's really hard to believe. Really hard. It's way too soon for him to do something like that. But anyway, so you have to take the necessary precautions to avoid everything getting swept under the rug. Literally. Here, look. Banco Master. Vorcaro is transferred back to Papudinya after a decision by Andre Mendonça. In his decision, Mendonça emphasized that the Federal Police and the Prosecutor General's office supported the 19th Battalion of the Military Police of Brasilia, the official name of Papudinya, as the appropriate place to receive Vorcaro. Do you know what I got from Andre Mendonça's decision? That he was kind of trying to dodge it. And it seemed like he didn't want to remove Daniel Vorcaro from the Federal Police Superintendency. And saying like, look, I'm saying the guy needs to have his security reinforced. Since you want it, I'll send him to Papudinya. But you have to be careful, you know? It's kind of a weird thing, isn't it? After all, the one who decides is the minister, the judge. And the judge is responsible for his decisions. It's no use for him to say, look, I'm deciding because the Federal Police said so. Look, I'm deciding because the Prosecutor General said so. Your decision is your decision. You're deciding because you used your own judgment above all that. Because you don't need to, Andre Mendonça, follow either the Prosecutor General's or the Federal Police's position. And you know that. So it kind of seems like something was going to happen to Daniel Vorcaro, and he knew about it. And he's already saying, look, but I have nothing to do with this. Because it's the police and the public prosecutor's office. Open your eyes. Open your eyes, people. Open your eyes, because let me tell you, this is weird. This whole situation is strange. Meanwhile, another nice move was rejected. Look here. The Attorney General's office rejects the plea bargain proposal from the former president of BRB to the Attorney General of the Republic. There is no minimum indication of the potential for restitution from the intended collaboration. nor are there elements that differentiate it from the results already achieved by the authorities in asset recovery efforts. What's going on? Paulo Enrique here, a trusted man of the former governor of the federal district, Ibanez Rocha, whom I also want to know when Andre Mendonça. Is it good to ask Andre Mendonça, guys? Andre Mendonça, when will there be a search and seizure against Ibanez Rocha, former governor of the federal district? When? Andre Mendonça, are you going to put the former governor of Rio de Janeiro, Claudio Castro, in jail, who is already impeached and ineligible? What day? Because that's missing too, right? It's not just Flavio who's doing fine, you know? There are more people doing fine. What's going on? This guy here was the trusted man of the former governor of the federal district, Ibanez Rocha, who did the whole deal with him. He's already in jail. Who did the whole deal with Daniel Vorcaro from the master bank mafia, taking more than 12 billion raise of public money from BRB, a public bank linked to the government of Ibanez Rocha from the federal district, and shoved it up Daniel Vorcaro's ass in the fraud. Was he arrested? He's in jail. And I want to make a plea deal. He presented the plea deal proposal. He didn't say anything meaningful, considering everything that the federal police is already finding. He tried to sweet talk the Attorney General's office and the federal police, just like Daniel Vorcaro. And it didn't work out. Why wasn't it accepted? And on top of everything, he didn't present a proposal to return millions and billions to the public coffers. Because a plea bargain, besides telling the truth, not hiding the truth, means declaring and giving the path of the crime so that the federal police can find the evidence to confirm the plea bargain. Because otherwise it's worthless, you still have to present it. Where is the choice? Where is the money hidden? So we can get it back, at least part of it. The plea bargain has to have all these elements, mainly because we're talking about a fraud of more than 50 billion reais. Billions of reais. He didn't present anything at all. Actually, he's desperate to get out of jail. He's been in prison since last year and he's desperate to get out, but he's not getting out. So these people, sometimes I think they believe it's going to be like Alice in Wonderland. In Bob Bobis's Fantastic World, where Flavio will win the elections and Flavio will grant a presidential pardon to everyone. So let's all stay quiet and not rat out the big fish in all this. Poor things. Do you think they know about the Bolsonaro family's war? Do you think they know? Yeah, right. I don't know, you know? I made it happen. It's going to be Lula in the first round. No crying and no mourning. Did you understand? Hit the like button. At 12:30, I'll be back live with more information. There's a lot going on, and I'll bring updates and new information. The federal police found a connection to the movie Guess Who with the PCC. Where's Donald Trump to drop the bomb in the movie? Kisses. Smash that like button. I'll be back soon if God allows it. Thank you, my handsome and my beautiful. Take care.